Okay, everybody, here's the start of the Dueling ED 209 model kit build. So, what we're going to be building is the Moderoid Good Smile Company ED 209 model kit, which after closer inspection of this kit seems to be really nothing more than a disassembled toy. So for you model builders out there looking to take this one on, yeah, you're just going to be assembling a toy that the company took the cheap route and put the assembly into your hands. So what we're going to do is, first off, take a look at some of these trees. I'm very pleased with a lot of the detail. The detail is very crisp, very sharp. There's some stray, not sure what the line would be, but some mixture lines, some striation, I think is the right term, when you get plastic and it squishes into the mold and you end up with some difference in height and almost giving you a bit of a mold line, which is definitely not something cool. I kind of dig that we've done some base colors for the darker cap parts on the legs, the magazines for his cannons, the missile launcher. I mean, very seldom will you ever see any raw plastic on anything I build. Everything gets painted, everything gets weathered, but I can appreciate when the company at least tries to give you a bit of an idea of what that base color should be. That's nice. Leg jacks. They look pretty nice. Now, most every ED 209 kit I've ever built they're going to be vinyl, right? So I've built a couple of Horizon ED 209s. I've built an Argonauts ED 209. All vinyl kits. So when you get to this part, with the exception of the Argonauts kit, and I've also built a Huya kit, and this applies to the Huya and Horizon ED 209s. These leg jacks, these adjustable rails on his legs, they're solid vinyl pieces on those two vinyl kits, and you have to cut away the recesses and add jack detail. I mean, that's how I do it. Otherwise, I wouldn't even build it. So I do appreciate that they've made an attempt here to really address one of the very bad things on most of the vinyl kits. Again, parts trees are really nice. I can appreciate that they've done his shoulder flaps in multiple pieces, so that should be a real chunky looking piece when it's all done. We got the shoulder, I guess you would call those, I don't know, shoulder yokes, because they're a multi-access yoke on ED 209 for his gun pods. There we got a lot of the leg detail, the locking cams on his legs. Again, some more detail. It looks like we've got some really sharp gearing detail and stuff. Really cool stuff there. Inner feet detail, it looks like they've given us some raised cable detail that I will be dry brushing to bring that out. Right, because what else can you do? Let's take a further look in here. Here's our blacks. Here's our black pieces. Radiator wall underwhelming. Looks well done. I don't know if you can see that. Looks pretty good. Cannons look really good. I can appreciate that they didn't give you these in halves and expect you to put those together and fill those seams. Mortar tubes looking good. Again, this is like a toy that they have put the assembly into the hands of the end user. Ends of the gun pods are looking really good. Lower legs are looking really good. Although these lower legs are going to present with a seam that ain't cool. And why they would engineer them like this. So they engineered these lower legs in half, so we're going to have a seam going right down the middle of the front, right down the middle of the back. These seams will be addressed in assembly and filled and sealed, because I don't like seams. Good close look at the gun pod. I think there's some real nice parts to this kit. And I think he can become a really nice build. Look at the foot details, really nice. I really like that they took the time to actually come up with a sole instead of just a flat nothing with a trademark on it. That's where we're at. The biggest heartbreak and what you all should be aware of is the dome. Cast in plastic, so that's nice. We won't have any rubber issues that we've had with so much else. But when we get back to talking about when they press the plastic into the mold, when the plastic is injected into these steel molds, you can end up with some, again, I think the word striation, correct me if I'm wrong, that presents almost like a mold line. We have a mean one going right across here. I don't know if you could see it in the light. It really presents with an unlevel kind of thing. We have seams along the edge. I think I can clean that up, but the real challenge here is that microphone texture, that microphone screen texture. That's gonna be a difficult thing to get clean. So the build begins. And I'm not just doing one of these. That's right. We'll be building 2 of these simultaneously in a dueling ED 209 build. And I really want this to be the quintessential ED 209 build. So we're gonna go into ED 209's actual paint scheme, ED 209's actual weathering, and discuss a lot of things that get overlooked when the ED 209's built. And we'll talk about some in-world fun uses that ED 209 could have been used for, but I'm looking forward to this. I think it's a bit of a challenge. Anytime you're presented with something like this that really looks like at the 11th hour, they kind of decided, hey, let's take that toy and market it as a model kit. And as we get further into this build, I'll be discussing with you why that is, why it's the case, and how it is I know that. And from the years of model building, I hesitate to say expertise because I'm not an expert. I learn every day from young kids to old men and several women in between in this hobby. I have learned a lot, so I will never call myself an expert. I'm an apprentice. I'm always learning. I do consider myself an artist. When it comes to model kits, model building is an art. It's a dying art form, and I'm going to show you how to make 2 very basic ED 209 model kits into some very substantial ED 209 props. All right, so that's it. That's the rundown of what's going to happen. I'm kind of wanting this build to be maybe a 3 or 4 month build. Given the holidays, it might go a little longer. And the fact that I'm doing 2, this is something I've never tried to do. It's a bit of a challenge. It's a bit of a fun thing. The fella that I'm building the second one for, I've got a lot of respect for. I think that in the RoboCop community, I think he's one of the most dedicated, the most knowledgeable, one of the most solid fans out of a group of solid fans that I associate with, all our RoboCop archive guys and a few guys on the RoboCop fans around the world. But I'm an RA guy. We'll support RA till the day I die. It's the place to go if you want RoboCop information, if you really want to delve deep into some RoboCop lore, if you really want to see what fans have been discussing for the last 15, 20 years, RA is where it's at. You'll see tons of stuff shared to these other new RoboCop pages that The source is the RA, so you might as well cut the middleman out and go directly to the RoboCop archive, robocoparchive.com, and delve into some RoboCop shiznit. Until then, stay out of trouble.